Well, my name is Ichinohe. Today I'm going to be doing a presentation on Back to the Future Part 2 and what it predicted correct. So Back to the Future Part 2 is an amazing story and an amazing trilogy. October 21st, 2015 commemorates an amazing event in history. A movie that actually predicted the future, somewhat. So the shocking predictions made by this movie are quite spot on, though much of the movie missed how far we've actually progressed since October 21st, 1985. We may not have flying cars nor hoverboards that are fully functional, but this presentation will provide the parts proven by the movie's predictions. So the first thing is flat screen TVs. So the TVs have actually drastically changed since the 1980s. Before they were very boxy and very large. Nowadays we have thin and flat screens, which is very spot on when it comes to the technology of the 1980s. We also have 3D imaging. A lot of movies nowadays provide a 3D option. Also, home theaters, video games also provide 3D as well. Holographic displays may not be prolific as to actually be able to attack you on the street. But in Tokyo, there's a concert hall that actually the artists are only holographic displays. So the next thing is drones. Now this was actually very spot on. Nowadays drones are very common. They're basically a simple thing that can be used. You can plug it into your iPhone and be able to fly it around anywhere. It's also being used by news channels very often in their presentations and all that as well. The next thing is virtual headsets. Things such as like the Oculus Rift, which is a new kind of technology that puts you in the 3D environment of your video games. Things like the Google Glass is also another thing that Marty's son was able to use when you see him in the video. Another thing is video conference calls. So when Marty gets his confrontational call from his boss, basically firing him, we actually do have that kind of technology. Skype, FaceTime, Line, and Snapchat are all this form of conference call technology that we have. Another big thing is plastic surgery. So Doc Brown is actually seen in the movie tearing away at his old skin, revealing a newer, younger self. Now we may not have that kind of technology, which allows us to take 10 to 20 years instantly, but we do have plastic surgery, which is very prolific and is very common for many people to actually get these operations done to bring them back to 10 to 20 years in the past. A big thing was that was kind of like an Easter egg that was found in the newspaper that Marty looked at, was a possible female president. Now, in the article it actually says the female president resigns or something like that. With the upcoming elections, Hillary Clinton is also a candidate, and she's at the foreground of the possibility for a new female president. A big thing was the Miami baseball team. And now this is an interesting one because back when the movie came out in 1989, Miami did not actually have a baseball team. It wasn't until 2 years later that they actually had a baseball team. And on that point actually, where Miami is defeated by the Cubs actually could have possibly been in the World Series this year. They were very close. They were in the semifinals against the Mets, and they lost in the fourth game, which is unfortunate, but not all predictions can come true. A big thing is also in the articles, it actually said cholesterol may cure cancer. Now this is just, in its theoretical state, but there was an article that was put out in May of this year that links cholesterol to the cure of cancer. Another thing was biometric identification. Now this is an important thing that is not too much known, but we actually have it with our iPhones, where you can just put your fingerprint down on there and then it opens and unlocks it. And very soon we'll have that available for our houses and for other commodities as well. Another big thing was actually the 80s nostalgia. Now, Marty goes into the 80s restaurant, and there was all this 80s memorabilia stuff. Now, the 80s have actually came back, and now they've made a resurgence with Ray-Bans, jean jackets, and leggings. These are all things that we found in the 80s that are now present today. So the last thing that I'm going to cover is instant news coverage. Now, this is a very interesting thing that was actually kind of relative for the time that we have now. We're able to basically get our news on our phone or our tablet a matter of minutes later from when it actually happens. And so now there were many things that were predicted completely wrong in the movie, such as flying cars and fully functional hoverboards, and the elimination of lawyers. But many of the things were proven correct to an extent. If they were actually able to make another movie of Back to the Future, what would they actually predict in the next 30 years? And that concludes my presentation. Thank you very much for your time.